Adventure Underground.
On this trip, we made a fast weekend trip to Michigan City, Indiana. We stayed at Bridges Inn, owned and ran by Pete. Super awesome guy who has lived in this area his whole life. His knowledge of the history here shows his love for this city. This is a train bridge that rotates from a center pedestal. This video is sped up because it turns very slowly. We only have freight trains where I live. I'm not used to seeing trains travel this fast. Pete recommended the Amida 2 to us. We took his recommendations seriously. Remember, he is a local and he knows. We had a ride with a ranger cruise. The state park ranger was very interesting and we learned a lot on this ride. As I stated in another one of my videos, I love lighthouses. Check out this Michigan City Pier light. With a very steady hand on a moving boat and a lot of telezoom, you can faintly make out Chicago in the distance. Here are some Indiana dunes. In the distance, you can see a cooling tower for the power plant. The Hoosier slide dune used to be right there. It was the tallest of all dunes. We're going to learn more about the Hoosier slide in a minute. Before the Pier headlight, this lighthouse was in use. This still isn't the original. This beautiful lighthouse was built in 1858. It replaced the original that was built in 1837. Today, this is a great museum. After the old Lighthouse Museum, we headed to the Pier headlight station. This is not a lighthouse, as it is not a house. No one has ever lived here. We couldn't go in, but we were told by the museum volunteers this is a metal hull structure. U.S. Coast Guard services and maintains lighthouses. I guess they're the only people allowed inside. I don't fully know the reason or function of the elevated walkway. I couldn't imagine walking on it all iced over in the winter. For that matter, I couldn't imagine walking on the Breakwater Pier either. I do know there has been funds raised recently to save the elevated walkway. I have seen Great Lake Erie once while visiting Dunkirk Lighthouse in New York. This is my first time visiting Great Lake, Michigan. My first time ever getting in the water at any of the Great Lakes. First thing I noticed, this is fresh water, not salt water. I wasn't expecting that.
That's it.
I've heard of singing sand before. Pete told us the sand here is singing sand. If you stomp just right, it gives a squeak sound. If you listen, you can hear the sand squeaking or singing. I'm used to finding shells on a beach. I found something that's not a shell. I sent a photo to a paleontologist friend of mine. By the way, he's on another one of my videos in a cave. But he identified this as a jaw element of a freshwater drumfish. Dean and I got in the water. The water was very cold, but you soon get used to it and it's not so bad. I'm used to the Gulf of Mexico where you can't see 1 foot into the water. This water is amazingly clear. The Hoosier Slide was the largest sand dune. It was once used as a tourist attraction. People would climb on it and slide down. Then a glass company hauled it off, literally a wheelbarrow load at a time, loading rail cars. There is a power plant located where the Hoosier Slide once was. The massive sand dune was about 200 feet in height. That would be about half as tall as this cooling tower. The sand used by the glass company was used to make glass jars, Ball brand Mason-type canning jars, and other glass containers. The glass ended up having a blue tint caused by a mineral in the sand. I wonder if this same mineral is why the water is so blue. These photos are provided by my Aunt Vicky. She took these of her personal collection. Notice one of these jars has a glass strap-down lid. I've stated in other videos that man changes things, and many times, possibly most of the time, not for the better. This is a prime example. This sand dune is gone. There's a power plant sitting here. There was human remains found under the sand dune. This is just another example where man messes things up. My opinion.